Brandon Walker. You got it right there. All right. So
welcome
drop
everybody
that in
on YouTube.
Yes, welcome on YouTube. Let's see what we're going. I'll check that.
To the Scotchy Bourbon Boys Bookers of the Year, where we are going to be blind tasting all 4 of the batches and the reservist, which was
It's right
an
there.
added addition to this year's Bookers line.
Yeah, once you get
which
it screwed
is
in,
real
then
exciting.
you can rotate the stand. Yeah. All right. Let's see. I will do.
Hope everybody had a great Christmas and spent some time with family and friends.
Orientation is locked. Rotate the device back.
No. You can't go sideways. Don't go sideways. Yeah, never go sideways. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to go sideways because we go vertical instead of horizontal, because then you can see it on a phone and you get way more views.
Yep.
So I'm gonna sit right here. All right, hold on. All right, there we go. We got sound, and welcome to Bookers of the Year. Bookers of 2024. Oh.
And yes, Adam, I have been blessed to be sipping on some excellent bottles the last few days during the Christmas holidays by the Christmas tree.
All right, let's see.
Appreciate you tuning in to us and everybody else. Hello, John.
That's pretty good.
Rick, James Jacobs, Carol Burns. Hey, Carol, cheers to you.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm good. I think I can move over a little, right?
Let me see. Are you going to get closer to me?
Like always.
Hey, that's what Christmas is all about, right?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. There's no Chris here. No CT.
Oh, yeah. Wait till tomorrow when we have 4 of us back here.
All right. Yeah, that should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But this year we got a bigger bar to do it behind. So.
All right. So we're live on YouTube, Facebook. We're ready to go. Rock and roll. That's for sure. We got. We're monitoring comments. So it's like we're monitoring comments tonight on our live. And tonight we're doing Booker's 2024 Bourbon of the Year. We're going to do this blind, thanks to Roxy and Walker. They have supplied the blind to us, and they'll be our tiebreakers if we do. But what we've got here are 5 bourbons in front of us blind. We've got the different batches that we'll go through as we go through. Great to have you guys all on Facebook and YouTube. This is gonna be if you've been paying attention to Bookers or you haven't gotten them all, this is the podcast for you. We'll be able to do all the Bookers and all the different ones and tell you what ones. I mean, we even have the reserve put in. It's like there were 4 batches plus the Booker's reserves. So we'll go through that. But in the meantime,
let's just get it started.
We're getting our sponsors taken care of here.
Absolutely.
So Alan Bishop from Old Homestead Distilling used to be the master distiller of the Spirit of French Lake. It's like so funny how it keeps getting further away and hard to go, even though he does a wonderful podcast on all the audio formats, Apple, iHeart, you can find it, Spotify. But Spotify is his main, what would you say, home for the If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything is a spirits podcast, an ultimate spirits podcast. It deals with the spirits industry and then also the spirits
supernatural
spirits. Yes.
Afterworld,
and the combining of the two and all the stories that go through the history. Fantastic podcast. If you haven't heard it, me and Roxy did one also. You can find us there. And also he does One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute on YouTube.
Yeah, which is for the home distillers, where he answers all your questions, or if you have any problems, he's always glad to help, and also just to help you along with anything that you need in the home distilling.
And then there's the Spirit of French Licks, is a sponsor of our podcast, has been all the way through.
Yep.
when Alan was there. They sponsor us, but right now we have two awesome barrel picks from the Spirit of French Lick. If
Yes.
you would like to find out about those, contact me or Super Nash.
Yep.
The Lillian Sinclair is uh, one of a kind, almost one off bourbon that we have, and fantastic. What would you say? Frontier type bourbon, a 4 grain.
Yeah.
And it was something that he wanted to do, and he got to do, and we got to be a part of. And then also his William Dalton wheat bourbon, we made a pick of that, and it's
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh.
Yep.
It is wonderful.
So just, if you're running through Indiana, you want to stop off at the Spirit of French Lick, and then also head on over afterwards to see Alan at the Old Homestead Distillery at the Potoka Lake Winery.
Yes, and distillery.
Right. And then also Whiskey Thief Distilling Company there in Frankfurt and New Kentucky. Fantastic.
Which is right downtown Louisville now.
Right. Me and Walker were there a couple weeks ago, had a great time at their tasting room. But either place you go, it's a barrel pick all day, every day. You get to choose from 5-10 barrels in some cases. And you basically, for the price of admission, you go in and you have those barrels there that you get to have them thieved right from the barrel. Pick your favorite, right?
Yep.
And then if you want to, you can bottle one or two and leave with the bottles right there and then.
In a 375 milliliter bottle or a 750 milliliter
like
bottle.
This little awesome 375 or a 750.
Yeah.
Either way, you're walking out with some damn good bourbon. And then last but not least, there is the Rosewood Bourbon and Rye. And that is a fantastic bourbon by Jason Giles out down there in Texas.
Yep.
He basically distills, and then he also ages and purchases bourbons from Indiana and Kentucky and drives them the 900 miles down to Kentucky while they're sloshing around.
And then ages them in that Texas heat
for at least one season. And if you see it on the shelf, I highly recommend to get it because it's fantastic.
Oh my God. Yes. It's what he does with it is just a difference aspect of what Kentucky bourbon is, or Indiana bourbon, or from any other part of the country.
Yep.
And so it's just a different flavor.
All right, everybody, it's ready. It's go time. Are we ready to do this?
I think so.
All right, we are going to start our audio podcast. What there is about 45.
We did have one more.
Which one?
Old Louisville.
Old Louisville, they do sponsor us, but they sponsor the barrel bashing.
Okay.
And tonight we're not barrel bashing, but we will throw out a high
main
five.
Yep. To Old Louisville Whiskey Company in Louisville, Kentucky, which he sponsors our barrel bashing usually on Thursday nights. But tonight we're not going to be barrel bashing. But thank you, Amin Carr. You get down to Old Louisville Whiskey Company, that's an experience too.
All right. Well, it'll be about a 45-second pause leading into our theme song, and we will get started with this podcast. Thursday, December 26th, the day after Christmas, our Booker's 2024 Bourbon of the Year. sipping on some scotch. We get a little wild, it's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, it's awesome, but we're telling the truth. Yeah! Yeah!
Here to have fun.
I think we're going to have fun.
Yeah, we are.
Woo!
All right. Yeah.
Woo! High
Man.
five!
Yeah.
We're in studio tonight. The Scotchy Bourbon Boys. It's the holidays because Super Nash is here again.
Yes.
And this is something that we look forward to every single year.
Yes,
Welcome
we do.
everybody to this week's after Christmas
Special.
special. This is Booker's 2024 of the year. This is going to be blind. I mean, it's going to be cool. It's great to have you down here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Like always. And this is an extra bonus podcast. So usually we're not doing it on Thursday night.
Oh, I know.
No, we've done it usually the 10. We last year we did the 10, which we did the 10 and 2 that on Friday, and we did Bookers of the Year, then Bourbon of the Year.
Yep.
This year we're going to do this, and then we're going to do a holiday special at 10 o'clock tomorrow, where we're going to narrow down our Bourbon of the Year.
Yep.
And then at 2 o'clock we'll go live and do our Bourbon of the Year.
Yep.
So if you don't want to wait till after the new year, to find out what our Bourbon of the Year is, you can watch it live tomorrow at 2 o'clock and get it on Facebook and YouTube. So that's right there. And everything seems to be working. So I'm excited about this. Remember www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. And Glen Cairns like these are Scotchy Bourbon Boys t-shirts. And I think tomorrow we'll be dipping bourbon balls right before, every year in mass amounts of emergency. Right there, Roxy.
Yeah. That's something I always get to take part in.
And then also we are we're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X. Tonight we're on YouTube and Facebook Live, but you can check us out on Instagram and the X. That's how you can get us. But we're also on the major podcast formats, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Deezer, anything, whatever you listen to, we're there. Just make sure whatever you do, you like, listen, subscribe, comment, and leave good feedback. Very important. The feedback's great. Or if you're watching us live, make sure you leave comments so that we can you can chat along with us.
There's something you want to know or ask us? Ask away, and we'll try to get those comments answered.
Oh, that's Greg. He woke up with the flu last night, so he won't be able to join us. So he just gave an instant message to us. So that's fine. Oh my God, that's horrible.
Oh man, sorry to hear that, Greg.
Greg usually
get to feeling better, bud.
Yep. And then Drew's on too. Drew Whedon. I mean, we've got so much. Oh, really? Oh, Seth is watching.
Yeah,
my son. This is a person. It's like, are you drinking all those pours? We will be tasting. And just so you know, Booker's is barrel strength, uncut, unfiltered, like the Scotchy Bourbon Boys.
We're sipping.
We're sipping them slowly, but they're all going in us eventually. And so everybody should know that this is one podcast that has been approved by my wife because she did the pours. So either she's trying to kill me or there's something else. I don't know what that is.
But for us, because if I would have done the pours, then something might be wrong. But I think they're pretty reasonable. I think we can handle this.
Oh, yeah, after today and all that's been going on. But if everybody wants to know how this is going to work, we've got the 5 batches that were released in 2024. We're going to go.
Actually, 4 batches of Bookers. And then there was a special release of a new release called The Reserves, which is added to the collection this year.
And The Reserves is, and you'll get a little bit more in detail, but it's Bookers that aged further, that when it was time to make the batch, it went further along, and Freddie decided that he was going to go into it. Normally, Booker's is right around 7 years and some months. That's the average age of most of the Bookers, and you'll find that out. But the reserves went to 10 and 11 years, and he used multiple to make a batch of some spectacular bourbon. So that's in this blind. You're about to find out how good we are when we come up with our Bookers of the Year on this blind. So,
either how good or how bad we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we set up the glasses, you didn't want like your first one's the same as
we
mine,
got them.
so
We
you-
organize all the
you
Yeah.
colors.
just mix them all up.
No, we got all the colors.
Yeah,
lined
we
up. So
organize the same
we
colors.
organize.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're starting off with red, whatever, so that we're tasting the same thing, so it doesn't turn into a legitimate F fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
say the word because we're early on. If I would have said that, we would have been edited by YouTube and everything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I have an announcement. I actually was offered a gift from YouTube. I should be wearing the hat, but it's Booker, so I'm wearing my Booker's hat with my Booker shirt. But YouTube sent me a winter beanie hat that's skull cap or whatever, that has the little play button for YouTube and everything. So as a creator, I was acknowledged with a free gift. So when I saw that, I jumped on it. So I've been wearing that around. I was wearing that around all day, wasn't I, hun?
Yes, you were.
So anyways, all right. So we're going to get into this. So what we're going to do is Nash is going to talk about the first batch of this year, 2024-01. He's going to tell you the name, what everything is, but what we taste when we taste our first one won't be aligning up with it because we don't know what's
we
what.
don't know what we're actually tasting.
And
So,
that's the advantage of a blind. It takes away all your preconceived notions, and it's just pure tasting.
but I'm just going to give you and tell you about Booker's 2024-01 batch is called the Springfield batch. And it's actually made up of, well, actually, you want me to give the story to it or just tell what it was made of?
Tell it out. Give the story. We're here.
Okay.
This is Booker's.
Dad was a natural storyteller. So while out on the road to promote his namesake bourbon, he would tell anyone who would listen about how Booker's bourbon came about. Distributors and other industry folks would thought Jim Beam hired an actor. That's how good he was. He told a lot of different stories, but one of his favorites took place during the visit to Chicago. While eating at a nice restaurant, Booker was served a so-called country ham. However, it didn't quite match up to the idea of a true bona fide country ham. So he leaned over to his publicist and right-handed man and asked him to retrieve the ham he had stashed in his trunk for an upcoming Alaska fishing trip. Booker wanted to show the chef what genuine country ham tasted like. After a bit of back and forth, the ham made its way into the restaurant, where Booker generously shared it with both the chef and the other diners. That story always got the whole room laughing. Many people think Dad was from Bardstown, the bourbon capital of the world, but it wasn't until later in his adolescence that he moved into the Beam family home there. As a boy, he grew up in Springfield, Kentucky, a small rural town about 18 miles down the road. While the town has grown over the years alongside bourbon and a few other industries in the area, it was a farming community with many residents working in tobacco when Dad was young. Many, many years before he became the master distiller he was known for, he got his sense of hard work from his time as a farmhand in Springfield. One thing most folks don't know about the Springfield area is that it was where Abraham Lincoln's legacy began. Beyond that, I'd say Dad is probably one of the more recognizable figures to come from Springfield. Even when he moved away, he spent a lot of time going back to the one family diner, back for family for family dinner, holidays, and even the extended no family reunion every summer. You never forget your hometown, and this batch is in honor of Dad's. I hope you enjoyed it as much as he would have.
All right. So where does it all come from? You got that, right?
Yep. All right. 17% came from the fifth floor of the 9-story warehouse G. 7% came from fourth floor 9-story warehouse H. 31% came from the fifth floor of 7-story warehouse Z. and 45% came from the 4th floor of 7-story warehouse 3.
There you go. That is the Springfield batch, and it has somewhat ties. Okay, go ahead.
Its age is 7 years, 7 months, and 8 days, and it's 124.5 proof.
All right, so let's taste into this first,
The first glass.
which is our first glass. Our glasses line up. There's colors on the bottom. So we're going to be tasting the same thing, but not necessarily what you just heard about. We're going to go in order and keep tasting, and that's the way we're going to go about it.
So we are tasting red.
Yes, red is the first one. You can put that in here. Thank you. A hand. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
I was thinking if you had water in your fridge. Okay. All right. So the first round of when we do it, we're going to nose, sip a little bit, and then once we're through, we're going to quickly taste through them quickly, and then we're going to put them in the order of what we put them in. Okay?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
That one is big. Big flavor.
That's a heavy hitter right there.
Big taste.
Yeah.
A little bit of, there's not much peanut on that one.
Tobacco.
Yeah, more tobacco. It's not that one.
Oak.
Wow. Now, one of the cool things about what we're doing here with these others, is that all the bottles have been open all year long round. Actually, this batch one is open the longest. Then I'd say the reserve would probably be the second. Then and so also the batch that, well, the reserve I picked up in September. So then it would have been the Beam House batch, which would be the second oldest open, and then the reserve, then the last two, which was Master Distillers batch, and then blend, and then also Jimmy's batch. So, all right, so you ready to do two?
Yep. All right. The 2024-02 batch is named the Beam House batch. I grew up just around the corner and lived next door for years before moving in after Dad passed away. The Beam House, as name suggests, has been part of my family for generations. My granddad, Jim Beam, lived here. My dad, great granddad, Jim, let's see, get my place back. And now I do. It's just kind of the way it goes in our family. We've always spent a lot of time here together, whether it's for Sunday dinners, drinking bourbon on the porch, or doing tastings for batches of bookers. Back when I lived next door, I used to walk across the yard with samples from the plant so Dad and whoever else was lucky enough to be there could gather around the kitchen table and taste them over some barbecue. Booker loved to entertain and always wanted to bring people through the house. Lord knows how many people have been here over the years. Friends, neighbors, business partners, employees, everyone's welcome. Dad loved when people would stop by and come on out back for a drink, and now it's a tradition I'm proud to carry on. In this batch, I've tried to capture some of the joyful memories I've made in the Beam House for you to enjoy at yours. All right. And this batch is made up 14% came from the 5th floor of 7-story warehouse Z, 28% came from the 4th floor, 7-story warehouse 3, 14% came from the 4th floor of 7-story warehouse 3. Wait a minute. 14% came from the 4th floor, 7-story warehouse 3. 19% came from the 5th floor of 7-story warehouse Q, and 25% came from the 7th floor of 9-story warehouse H. It is 7 years, 2 months, and 22 days old when the barrels were dumped, and it is 124.6 proof.
I think this one's gold. This nose on this one's much stronger than the last one. I really like that one. The one thing of that this year that the Bookers had was this rich, dark, like almost a cherry caramel, syrupy deliciousness. Now, Booker's is,
Much sweeter.
I mean, all the
Uh,
barrels in the batch are from those different places in the rick house, but all the barrels are uncut and unfiltered. They're just dumped.
hmm
And that's one of the things that what attracted me to Booker's in the first place. I wanted what Booker and what Fred and Freddie all taste, and that's what Booker's is. It's what they make batches of what was coming out of the barrels. These come straight from the barrels. They're dumped. They're screen filtered,
mm.
but they're not filtered. They're not cold filtered. They're not chill filtered or any other type. It's just as they're dumping, they get the char, but the fine charcoal sediment will be in the bottom of Booker's. Okay, so that's really interesting. All right, so we're on 3. I mean, what did you get off this one? This one was a little bit more rich. It's in its flavor, though not as much char, a little bit sweeter.
A lot sweeter to me. I'm getting a lot of brown sugar on this, and I'm getting a dark tart flavor to it. Maybe even like cherry coming through, but it's real sweet and rich. I like it.
Okay. So this is the third batch. No, what do you want? Yeah, third batch.
Yep.
What's your
And this is
master distiller batch?
it's called the Master Distillers Batch 2024-03. This group was made up of legends like my dad, Booker No, and some of his peers at other distilleries during this time. These guys, the elder statesmen, as we call them, paved the way for master distillers to get recognized for their craft. They even became the very first class inducted to the Bourbon Hall of Fame. I remember once I was with my dad when they all met up in Chicago for a festival. We were catching up at a bar, and to most of the people there, we were just 6 random guys drinking bourbon. But someone pointed us out to the bartender and said, "You've got bourbon royalty in here." We all laughed and raised our glasses. While it's true enough now, it wasn't always like this. Back in the day, being a master distiller just meant running the distillery. But these elder statesmen changed all that, raising the bar for all of us. The job went from spending every waking moment in the distillery to traveling the world, all the while introducing people to our beloved bourbon. They became spokesmen and celebrities in their own right. They made the job as big as they were. I've looked up to these guys my whole life. They showed me the ropes of how to make great whiskey and built my love and respect for everything that goes into the craft. I'm proud to follow in their footsteps and honor them with this batch.
So that's Fred No, who does the Booker's batches on this, all except for the reserves, which his son Freddie had taken over. But me and Super Nash and Roxy, we've sat around the kitchen table that we were talking about
Yeah.
on the last one. We've been in the Beam House. We Walker and we just did the dinner at their house this past summer with all of us. They opened their house up to the public and or the people who want if you're willing to spend time with them, they want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
So we know
Very welcoming.
Sandy, which is Freddie's mom and Fred's wife, and it's just an amazing dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really kind of cool. And Booker's is what the reason why we know the nose was the painting that got, and why we're together is because of Booker's painting.
Because of
We've talked
Booker's
about
painting.
this many
Yep.
times,
Yep.
and it's just
And because of Booker's bourbon, like I say, it was what you liked at the time and had a passion for when you were getting into whiskey and bourbon. And the same thing with me. It was one of my favorites when I was getting into it, just for the fact that it was uncut and unfiltered, and it was like sort of like the true, to me, bourbon of at the time.
well, it also I mean, it's such a popular podcast. That's one of the reasons why we do this is because people are so interested in this bottle. When I first my first bottle I believe was 78.99 off the shelf, and recently here in Ohio it was 99.99. That's it's just hasn't gone up that much
Yeah.
as far, but it's just a quality bottle. It comes in the wooden cases with the Bookers. Some people use them as to smoke drinks. You know,
They
the
make
little front
bourbon
and
smokers
whatever,
out
but
of
it,
'em.
it holds it in. It comes with that what you're reading from. It comes from a little card that you're reading it from the internet because
Yeah.
nobody can read these cards. It's so small. It's always been a thing. It just makes you feel old. That's all those cards do. They should leave them out and just say, "Hey, look it up on the internet," and then you don't feel so old because you were smart enough to look it up on the internet, right? So, all right. So let's
All right.
sip this third one.
Well, let
Oh,
me tell
you-
you the batch. It's 7 years, 8 months, and 7 days, and it's 130.3 proof. All right. And much of this batch was produced in 2016 on Dad's birthday, December 7th. The breakdown of the barrel storage of Booker's Masters Distillers batch is as follows: 10% came from the 6th floor of 7-story warehouse Z, 11% came from 6th-story floor of 7-story warehouse 1, 42% came from the 6th floor of 7-story warehouse 3, 37% came from the 3rd floor of a 9-story warehouse J. And that, to me, right there is kind of special that Booker did this in honor of his dad and on his dad's birthday.
You mean
that-
Fred?
Fred.
Fred did it on Booker's
Fred,
birthday.
yeah. Fred did it for Booker's birthday, and that he did it on for December 7th. So this is pretty special batch.
All right. So this, I believe, is green.
Yep, I think I got green.
All right, and we're gonna nose this one. This one's more classic Booker's.
Yeah, this has sort of got that peanut.
Yep. This has the sweetness of the
And
other
that-
three,
that
but that
caramel.
nutty peanut. It's got the brown sugar, vanilla,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's also got a little bit of oak on a little bit more oak on it. All right, let's do batch 4.
Mm.
We'll talk about 4. It's fun being blinded.
Yeah, I like that one.
So when we say the colors, you guys know what color's what, don't you guys? So you guys are gonna be laughing your butts off at us. We're not. I'm not trying to figure out the batches.
All right. Batch 2024-04 is called Jimmy's batch. Once at a bourbon festival, Jimmy came up to Dad and me and poured out 3 glasses of whiskey he wanted us to taste. It was some real nice stuff. And when Dad asked what it was, Jimmy said it was something new he was working on, something special. I thought it was pretty cool to bring a new product to a competitor and ask what they think.
No, Jimmy Russell. We're
Yeah.
referring the master distiller of Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
So there we go. That helps.
I probably should have
Anybody-
read the precursor up here.
Yeah.
This batch is named in honor of master distiller Jimmy Russell, the living legend for bourbon lovers everywhere, and one of my dad's dearest peers, competitors, and most importantly, friends. Jimmy was like a second father to me after Dad passed away, and I've learned a hell of a lot from him over the years. There are many life lessons to thank him for, but here are a few that stand out to me. Once at a bourbon festival, Jimmy came up to Dad and me and poured out 3 glasses of whiskey and he wanted us to taste. It was some real nice stuff. And when Dad asked what it was, Jimmy said it was something new he was working on, something special. I thought it was pretty cool to bring in a new product to a competitor and ask what they think. It showed me the importance of trust and camaraderie and just how much those old timers respected each other. The other big thing about Jimmy taught me was to treat everybody like I wanted to be treated. When we went to events at bars or liquor stores, he always stayed late to make sure everyone got the picture taken and their bottle signed. It's easy to take for granted that we get to do what we do because of the people that stand in line for our whiskey, but Jimmy never did. Just like Dad, there are a few things Jimmy loves more than a damn good bottle of bourbon. So cheers to him and the mentorship that he's given me through the thick and thin all these years. I hope you get to share a glass with company as good as true as Jimmy.
So last year, Greg Schneider texted Jimmy and told him that me and Super Nash were coming down on the Saturday. I believe it was the 18th, and
It
asked
was
him
actually on a Sunday.
on a Sunday. Yeah,
Yep.
and he just said to he texted Jimmy directly, and then he copied the text to me. Plus, I got in on a chat with Jimmy Russell and Jimmy Russell's personal cell phone. I haven't used it, but I didn't hear back from Jimmy after that. But when we said we were going to be there between 11:30 and 12:30,
Yep.
and me and Nash showed up at the distillery's gift shop, and sure enough,
When we walked in,
Jimmy and
there's
what's
Jimmy and
just
Jaretta.
Jaretta
his
were
wife.
right there, sitting in there waiting for us.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was
and then
amazing
and
to me.
then I was wearing a Whiskey Thief shirt because we had been at Whiskey Thief,
Oh,
and
and
Jimmy,
Jimmy-
she's like giving me
and
total
that, yeah, he asked him, "What
shit
is that
because of
that
that.
he was wearing?" I mean,
Yeah, he's
Jimmy
like,
just,
what's that on your shirt?
Yeah.
Where is that?
yeah,
And Jimmy knows where Whiskey Thief is. Jimmy sends people to Whiskey Thief, and he sends people to Larkin afterwards. He's
Yeah.
such a great person, and we got to spend a good 25-30 minutes with him and his wife.
it was quite a while.
And he told a couple stories,
Yep.
and then so
Signed
about
some
Greg
bottles
and
for
signed
us,
some bottles, and
took
it
some
was
pictures.
and some people came in, but he was just overall, it was something I hadn't met Jimmy. Neither had you, right?
No.
We had never met
No.
him, and we got a chance to meet him, and I felt honored afterwards. So
Me too.
so-
That was a very special day.
now this batch is 2024 04,
04.
and it's on the shelves right now.
Yeah.
They seem to have been made a little bit more of this batch. So what was did we do the year and the proof on that?
I'm doing it right now.
All right.
This batch was made up of 3 production dates stored in 4 different warehouses. It stands at 125.8 proof. The age is 7 years, 9 months, and 19 days. And the breakdown of the batch is as follows. 12% came from the 5th floor of 7-story warehouse Z. 20% came from the 5th floor of 7-story warehouse 1. 46% came from the 3rd floor of 7-story warehouse 3. And 22% came from the 4th floor of 7-story warehouse Q.
There you go. What's the proofs?
It was 125.8.
Okay. All right. So we are about to drink the 4th one that we have in front of us. Remember, this is blind, folks. We don't know what we just read about or talked about. If you just joined in, this is just
blue.
This is blue. It's a little bit. This nose is more complex than most the other 3.
You can tell that seems like to me that proof is a little bit higher on this one.
There's still the classic peanut on there. The sweetness. Now, I will have to say, for all the batches, it definitely has a consistent sweetness on each one of them. Don't you agree?
Yes.
All the way across the board. I would say one has a little bit of char on it, where the other ones don't have that same char.
The first one to me, that's a little bit more char and oakiness to it. 2 and 4 right now have this, for me, have the sweeter and the more complex and better flavors right now.
Yeah. All right. So let's read about the reserves.
All right. And this is a special limited edition.
Put it up there for everybody. Let's put that right there. How about that? Look at that. That should have been where they were all the time. Probably. Oh, I did. It's exactly where it should be. Yeah. It's working on Facebook and YouTube.
All right. When Beam was struggling to get the Hardens Creek line to fully take flight, it makes sense that they would look to their established brands for expansion. October saw inaugural release of the Little Book, the Infinite, and 2 months later, the Booker's Bourbon brand saw the Reserves, which opened up the brand's flavor profile and increased the blending complexity. Following in his granddaddy's legacy, Freddie No looks to take the Booker's brand in a new creative directions. Though Little Book was thought to be exactly that, 8 releases later, the brand has been far more experimental and unique than the more traditional confines of Booker's line. According to the company, Noah is personally picking all of the barrels for the reserve blend, and the first edition includes a blend of 8, 9, 10, and 14-year-old bourbons. In a lot of ways, it mirrors what Four Roses does with their annual limited edition small batch release.
There's this.
That's probably better.
If you want, can you read it? You could use your light on your
I
phone.
got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
I wanted this to happen.
Welcome to the very first batch of the Reserves, a celebration of my granddaddy Booker's legacy. I'm honored to be a part of something that means so much to us at Beam, and to all of you who've enjoyed it over the decades. In many ways, the Reserves is in the same bourbon you know and love. Always uncut, always unfiltered, just as Booker envisioned when he created this small batch bourbon collection and changed the world of whiskey for good. But in other ways, the Reserves is something new. I've taken my granddaddy's Bookers and put it on a path to the future, expanding its flavor profile with the most exceptional liquids in our rack house. It's the kind of bourbon I believe he'd be making if he were still here with us now. I search high and low across our campuses to find the right barrels, handpicking every single one myself. They can take a while to find, but when I do, it feels like the big man himself picked them out. I couldn't be prouder to share this bourbon with you all. I think even Booker would say we've done good with this one. So let's all raise a glass. Long live Bookers.
Long live Bookers.
Long
And
live
we're gonna
Bookers.
taste this fifth one. We're covered.
And this 2024 batch, the Reserves, is aged 8 years, 2 months, 12 days at 125.9 proof, spanning 8 production dates and stored in 8 different warehouses. These barrels were aged as follows: 8 years, 2 months, and 12 days on the fourth floor of Warehouse G. 8 years, 5 months, 19 days on the fifth floor of Warehouse I. 8 years, 5 months, 20 days on the fifth floor of Warehouse Z. 9 years, 2 months, 3 days on the fifth floor of Warehouse Q. 9 years, 2 months, 4 days on the sixth floor of Warehouse J. 9 years, 5 months, 18 days on the seventh floor of Warehouse H. 10 years, 3 months, 2 days on the fourth floor of Warehouse X, and 14 years, 4 months, 16 days on the sixth floor of Warehouse I.
What about proof? Did you do proofs and
Yep.
everything?
Yep. That was 125.9 proof.
Wow. And the age was a lot higher. So great.
Yeah.
There we go. The
yeah,
cards
up to 14 years in age.
All right.
8 to 14.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste through and I'm going to just put them in order. And then you can taste through and we can put them in order and then we'll see the reveal. Okay. So I kind of know which ones were good already and which where I want.
Yeah.
But I'm going to review the 3 that I thought were and see just where I think there's some exceptional batches this year.
You're going to put your first, the one that you want first
To the left. Yep.
Okay.
since we tasted through, this is kind of easy.
I don't know.
Does this take number one? Nope. There you go. That's a lot of Bookers. Right now, I have a hug. So Matt said, are you going to take them all together, mix them all together and make one batch of your own, just mix all 5 together and make a batch. But I'm telling you, I mixed them all together in my, and right now the hug itself has mixed together. I have to give it a break for a second because that's like, I'm telling you, I've done a lot of these Booker's tastings before, but I will tell you right now,
This is the toughest one ever.
Yeah, and it's the highest proofing I've ever tasted. I haven't had this high of proof, or feels like this high of proof. All right. I'm just catching my palate. We've drank a lot of whiskey today. All right. It's feeling like beer right now, fulling. Yep. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I've got-
Did you put your 5 in order?
I put my 5 in order.
All right.
My 5 are in order.
This is tough.
There's 3 that are really close.
Yeah.
There's big flavor on 2 of the 3. One's got a little bit tobacco oaky for me, which then, but the sweetness is so big on the front palate. I mean, there's just, I don't see how you have that ranked 3rd, considering it's all gone. I'm kidding.
It's not.
Oh, it was actually blending in with the tablecloth.
Yeah.
There you go. So you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
So,
all right.
So let's see how weird we are. Okay.
Okay.
Because how close are our palates aligned? So my number 1.
No, don't go start with 1. Start with 5.
Oh, my number 5? Okay, so we'll start with 5.
Yeah.
There's no suspense.
My number 5 is blue.
Mine's red.
Okay, so his is blue.
Okay.
Mine's blue, which would be.
You don't say what they are until you get to the number 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So my number 4 was green.
Mine's green. Yep.
Yep. My number 3 is red.
Mine is the gray or white. Gray.
My number 2 is gray.
Mine is gold.
And my number 1, what is that color?
Should be gold.
Gold?
That's the one you should have
And
left.
my number 1's
Is
blue.
that gold?
Yep.
And my number 1's blue. So my gold was number 2. Yours was
my gray was number 2, and my gold was number 1.
So since you don't agree, three.
No, wait.
How do
So-
you want to do the tiebreaker before you know what they are, or you sure?
No, we're gonna.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but you can't know
I
what they are.
I want to know what the two are, and then you're gonna blind the two, and then you got
Well, there's actually three because see, I got a gold and a blue.
what? What does that have to do with anything? My number
Number
one
one
is
is gold,
gold,
and
and
his
your
number
number
one
one
is
is blue.
Oh, okay.
So gold and blue are
Okay,
what's
so
gonna
it's
go.
Very interesting because that's what I guessed your number one would be,
And
that's what
my
I
number, his number
Listen.
one was blue, and
guessed,
my
Listen.
number
that's what I
5
guessed
was.
Martin's number one would be by the way you talked about them when you tasted them.
Oh, wow.
Because you talked about your number one being
The gold one.
the gold one, and gold is not is batch number 4.
So gold is Jimmy's batch.
Yeah, and you've always talked about Jimmy. I knew Jimmy's batch was going to be your favorite. Because all
What?
year long, you talked about it being your favorite. So that's very consistent.
Okay, so what's blue?
And blue is batch number 1.
Batch number 1.
So
Wow.
I want to know what the reserve was.
Reserve is
gray.
Gray.
So reserve came a close second. I was
And
torn
see, I had
between
it.
those.
I had it at third. Yeah.
Okay, so
And see, I switched those just at the last too.
So
And
now-
Right there at the last, I
red
took
is
that
batch
last
number
sip and I
2.
switched them around.
Red's batch number 2.
okay, so what we should do is we should do the 2 blind.
Yeah, you two guys. And then I'll
Okay.
pour of each one, and then
Okay, so we can't go. You got to go grab
or-
the
or
bottles.
we could break the tie, whatever you want.
Well, I think you guys should try them. I think you should. This next one, grab the bottles. Well, you can't blind yourselves.
Yeah.
Well, you can because you can pour them and then you can mix them all around, and you wouldn't remember which is which.
That would defeat the purpose,
You
wouldn't it?
could mix around our glasses.
You just wouldn't look at the bottoms.
Right. You won't look at the bottom.
Okay, so what you would do, all right, so go pour, take the 2 bottles, take the 1 and 4. There's some Glens back in the what you call it, grab some Glens from the back
What
room.
about these right here?
What are
Are
those?
these all clean?
Are they?
Looks like it.
How many?
There's 6.
Okay. So we need to come up with 2 more.
Okay.
Is it clean?
I don't think those are clean.
I don't know.
There's a green. Oh, I can give you 2 more. Right
You
here.
got 2 up there?
Yeah. I got a Jim Beam and a wild turkey. So when you do the Jim Beam and the wild turkey, do that for me, so that, and then your guys do the blank one, so we can mix them around. All right. So you do grab
those 2 and then grab the bottles and then.
the 04 Jimmy's batch and the 01. Yep, there you go.
1 and 4.
And then,
We'll be back.
all right, they're gonna blind us. Okay, so Matt, 678 proof. Is that all that added up? So let's do what Matt said. Let's just pour them all. Let's just pour all of them into one and see what happens when we blend them.
Oh, so
While they're doing that, we can do a
now
fun.
now we're gonna blend them
All right.
because we basically got just about the same amount left. We were sipping on those.
Mm-hmm. So we're
Cool
doing what
experiment.
Lizen wants, and
So
just,
we're doing our own blending
of
of
all
Bookers.
5 Bookers.
Yeah.
I wonder what that proof's going to come up. It doesn't work that way, John. When you mix all the proofs, doesn't go to 607. All right, so we got an Infinity 2024 batch of
Of
Bookers,
Bookers.
all 5 put together.
Look at that color
Yeah.
on that. Look,
Colton's. I think
set that
Colton
up
was
there. Look
on
at that.
last night. Yeah, look at the
Look at that.
Yep.
Look, we basically drank just about
About
the
the same
same amount out of.
Cheers.
Out of
So this is
cheers.
the Infinity of Bookers. Colton. I think Colton was. We met Colton today.
Yeah.
Over there. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, brother.
I wonder what this is going to be like. This is crazy. We're just being crazy here. For sure. I don't know why I put those over there in the light so everybody can see them. Let's put them behind here. I'm just going to put them out. Not taking up every second of, okay. We'll put my water.
There we
over
go.
Here.
How about that?
There you go. Matt's excited for this. All right. What is this? All right. We should barrel bash it. We should do
Barrel bash.
barrel bash the Infinity of Bookers of 2024.
Barrel bashing Infinity's Bookers. Wow, it's got a complex nose on that. Brown sugar, vanilla,
Ooh.
oak.
It's doing a wow. It's doing that grapey thing that was happening at the. Did you get that? You get that stuff that was happening at the distillery today? I got that a little bit.
That's different.
Yeah. There's a lot of oak. Most of the Bookers does not go oak forward.
Yeah.
And this goes straight oak forward. It's like a really sweet oak.
You know, when what was it, Tom Gray? The palate wrecker.
Yeah.
This is what this batch would be called, the palate wrecker.
So we took all five Bookers and put it into each one of our. We just mixed what we didn't drink.
We came up, put the glasses side by side. We had the same amount in each of ours.
I have no idea which one's which. Because Walker gave them to me, switched around. So
Walker,
I don't know which one's which other than after
he
we
doesn't
look.
either.
you're cheating. No,
I'm
just
Well,
kidding.
how are
I'm
we going to
only-
know?
I'm only cheating because when you actually look later, you'll know. They're coated.
You
yeah,
did
So
coated.
just don't look at the box.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
they're
we
coated, but
we
don't-
could look at the bottom.
Oh,
of it,
okay.
Yeah, but you can't.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. And then when you drink, dear, just don't tip your glass up. So you tip what we're drinking. You just kind of do
Yeah,
that.
I'll put my finger over the
yeah.
sticker.
All right. So these are the two. This is Booker's 01, which is the it's not the Beam House batch. The first batch was come on. Oh my God.
Springfield batch.
Springfield batch.
Springfield
The
batch.
CT was very excited.
Which
first batch.
that is the batch that
Springfield batch
is
and
that
Jimmy's
Martin,
batch.
and then I have Jimmy's batch, whichever. We don't know which either one of these are. Now this right here is the Infinity batch, believe it or not. That's like and people, seriously, it was an equal parts of each one of the five. So if you
Yeah.
have all five, you can make that blend too. But I wouldn't recommend it unless you like a lot of oak. It went
And if you
seriously
want
oak.
Come
a
here, Walker,
serious
you can
palate
get in the
wrecker.
camera if you come over here.
All right, so we got Roxy and Walker coming in. All right,
Need
so
some water to clear your palate.
yeah, I did that. All right, so here we
All
go.
right.
Which one am I gonna like better? That's all we're doing here. I want that one and that one. It's obvious to me. And if it's going to be same, you guys are going to be the ones to.
Right the time.
I hope you guys did. This just doesn't.
I want this one and this one second.
I agree with my assessment first. All right.
I'm
So-
not done.
Okay.
I only drank the first one.
I should have taken more time with the first one.
Yeah, you gotta give me a minute.
Walker's like, I've been driving all day and everything. Look, his glass is gone. What's it like? What are they like when you chug it? So this is the so we did the 5 and Nash picked the first batch, which is Springfield batch, and I picked the 4th batch, which is Jimmy's batch, and we just blinded them together.
Yep.
Now, if me and Nash are disputed again, Roxy and Walker will join in.
Yep. Okay. We'll let them
So
finish
you
up
know-
theirs so that they get their 1 and 2. And then that.
No,
that
you
will
guys
be
are
the-
just being
Do
shocked.
you have any water left over there?
Yeah, a little. It's a necessity for
being
Booker.
palate
No,
shocked.
no,
Yeah.
no. Booker's. You need water with Booker's.
Yes.
I mean, the pizza was like forming puddles in my stomach with this.
Okay. 1, 2.
Okay, which one's one?
1, 2.
Okay, Walker. Walker's trying it one last time. I mean, they are damn close.
So 1, 2. I'm curious now.
Although Nash, your number 1 was my number 5.
You do just said, he just said that I was number 1.
Okay, so are we supposed to say now?
Okay, here it
All
is. My
All
wild
right,
turkey. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Let's both pick up our number 1.
What is the color? We're matching.
We're matching.
Okay.
Is the color? Is that what color?
Gold is my
matching.
number 1 is gold.
Oh wow.
Gold,
So
gold.
we're unanimous.
Gold,
Okay,
gold,
unanimously
gold.
We're now
gold.
unanimous.
What is gold?
What is gold?
Jimmy's badge.
Jimmy's badge.
Oh, we went to Jimmy's.
Right?
So-
gold
Yeah.
is Jimmy's badge.
Bookers
Yeah.
of the year has
It's
just
Jim's
been unanimously blind
Jimmy's batch.
That's it.
Jimmy's
Yeah,
batch. 2024-04.
Not even a choice for me.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, the
Yeah,
two.
put up side by side and cleared palette, you know.
Yeah. So the
'Cause it
so
got
the-
kinda
so the
rough for me.
Springfield was a little too
Okie.
hot and too oaky.
Yeah, it got a little bit
It
hot
got
for me.
too
Once
hot and
I-
too oaky. This
yeah.
was just more palate pleasing.
yeah,
I mean, it
And
was at
sweet.
a higher proof
And
and
sweet.
sweeter.
a little bit sweeter.
Yeah, that finish was
and
much
had just a little
sweeter.
bit more fruit going on to me
Yeah, the
coming through.
It
The
definitely has
caramel,
some more
yeah.
fruit. I would say that
What was the red batch?
the red batch was,
and also kind of like popcorny. I don't know. I get like a
picked it right
like
on
a
the first.
pop,
It was the beam
popcorn
house.
on the finish.
Okay,
along
because
with
that
Yeah.
the Beam
fruit
House one
and-
was smoky.
So
What?
let everybody know.
So,
And hold
all
the
right,
bottle up.
everybody. Yes, the
Give us the bottle.
the Bookers, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys Bookers of the Year
Unanimously.
was 2024-04, coming in at 62.9. That's a 0.9. Yeah.
That would be 125.8.
Yep, a 62.9 ABV and 7 years, 10 months.
That would be 7 years, 9
That's
months,
still
and
good.
19
It is.
days.
There you go,
And it
9
gets
months and
better
19
for longer.
days.
Wow. You had to boil it on a
125.8
short term.
proof.
125. It is Booker's 2024-04 batch, Jimmy's batch for Jimmy Russell. And the great thing about it, everybody, is that this is on shelves right now.
Yes.
If you walk into your local liquor store, especially here in Ohio or somewhere, it is readily
I've
available
seen
out
it
there.
just about everywhere in South Carolina,
And
Georgia, North
it-
Carolina.
It coincides with Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary
Yep.
that he released and everything. So the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, it's the current batch, and it's the batch. And maybe in early 2025, when we're waiting for the next batch, we might put the last 3 years winners up against each other.
Oh,
Okay.
So those batches to see which is the best
The
batch in the
winner-
last 3 or
Yeah.
4 years. I'll go back and find out the winners and we can go from there. Sounds like a good idea,
Sounds
right?
like a plan.
All right, everybody. Great podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll
Absolutely.
finish up right here. Thanks to Walker and Roxy for helping out, blinding me and Nash, and then coming in and helping us
absolutely.
determine which one it was. That was awesome. And then, so www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Remember, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. We're right there, or we're on all the major podcast formats, mainly Spotify, Apple, and iHeart, but all the other ones. But remember, like, listen, subscribe, comment, and leave good feedback. And
Most importantly,
yes.
yes.
And remember, good bourbon equals good times, good friends. Drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And live your life
uncut and unfiltered.
And little Steve-O will take us
right.
out.
Oh, show me the way
Yes.
to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right.
All right, we're off there. We're still live, Facebook, YouTube. Hey, Lawrence, Lawrence on YouTube just came right in. Got a bunch of people coming in. Cheers,
All right.
everybody. The Reaper came in.
David Nash just came in.
Yeah.
And cheers, Matt.
Yeah, cheers to Matt and Colin. Colton Richardson said that he felt that Jimmy's batch was pretty good, hands down, when he tasted it, and that's kind of where we were. Hey, Wayne said his pick is batch 4 too. So
right.
Wayne, that we came to that batch blind.
Yeah, because we were kind of mixed about it when we were going through the 5. But when it came down to it, all 4 of us unanimously picked it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that was cool.
Well, I will say that when we went through all 5, right?
Yeah.
My second was the reserves. Okay, it was sweet, but it still was a little bit compared to Jimmy's batch. There's a little bit oaky. It wasn't that pure like flavor that Jimmy's has, that sweetness. But then the balance of what happens afterwards is perfect, right?
Yeah.
Even down, you get a little bit of oak, you might get a little bit of this, but it's not overpowering. Where on the reserves, it was a little overpowering, but it was still really good. And then my third was, I believe, was not Beam House, because Beam House
was the green, right?
the first one was the blue one, and that was that one had a lot of beam in it. It was very nutty and everything. Now, if you I love Booker's. Now, granted, all 5 of these, they were good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they were good, but I'm just saying this one was a little bit sweeter, and it didn't have the classic peanut flavor that was in there.
I think right near the end, when I was trying to guess between the 5, because I was trying to clear my palate in between sips, but I think I was wrecking my palate and all, because right at the end I switched my 1 and 3, in which the 3 was the reserves.
Yeah.
And I had it first, but then I took that final sip of each one, and then it's like I switched them, and then I said I'm ready. So I think I was wrecking my palate.
I was trying to switch 1 and 2. I tried to do it a couple times. Once I got it down to the last 2 on the 5, and I just kept tasting them, and the Jimmy's batch just kept staying ahead.
Yeah.
And then when we did it the second time, I didn't go looking to say this is Jimmy to think which batch it was. I was just the one that tasted the best.
I never
one
even
thing-
tried to figure out what batch was what.
Right,
I was
right.
just trying to go by flavor.
Mhm.
And then that's when, like I say, I just got to doing it too much and too quick. And because I had Jimmy's batch number 2 and it stayed there at
Yeah,
number 2.
when we were pouring them, I just sniffed them all,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Ooh, I really like the
Yeah.
old one."
Well,
Which
give
was Jimmy's
give the
batch. Yeah.
mix. Give the mix. That is the pure mix of all 5 together.
Yeah, nice.
Give it a sip.
No, I'm
It's
good.
grapey.
Are you sure?
Mhm.
Just one taste. I mean, it's worth it. I'm not trying to make you chug it. It's very unique, but I think it's confused. Like
Yeah.
all this when here,
Yeah.
all the flavor, in
Yeah,
my
it's-
opinion, we're
it's-
putting them together. It's like
That's
all the
kinda-
flavors are
kinda how
popping
It
out.
just tastes like wine.
What?
I was
It
saying
smells
it's
like
Tastes like,
grapey.
it's like a
Yeah,
wine.
grapey,
but I'm
yeah.
telling,
like
but
a
it
real
seems.
dark
But to me,
Merlot or
Yeah.
something. It has
stuff
like a
is
Merlot
stuff
that-
is popping up all over.
Yeah, but then it just goes to nothing.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. Like it's out of order. Like everything what's
Yeah.
happening on your where these
And it's
all
hot
have its own
going
order,
down,
right?
Yeah.
Where it
Very
wasn't hot to
hot
drink
and-
it.
I get that sweetness
is a
and
lot
grapiness,
hotter.
and
Yeah,
then
it's a lot hotter.
Got
but
a
I
lot
don't
of
get
pepper.
any. I don't get any of the caramel or brown
I would say
sugar.
the
No.
initial
or pimento
mouthfeel,
out.
though,
Just
and
very
the
dark,
initial taste that I
stone
get
fruity.
Yep.
from the
And
palate
that's
is
it.
really
Yep.
great. But then I
Agreed.
get that very quick transition to the peppery spice.
With,
And
with
then it's
some
kinda
heat.
overwhelming.
Which
Well,
is sort of
Yeah.
like,
for me,
eh.
it starts off sweet, but then there's a little tobacco, and then there's a little bit of
It's-
oak, and then it hits the
Oh,
mid palate and
It's
gets
similar
hot.
when we
What?
David wants to know where he can buy a hat and a shirt.
Oh, where
At
you?
Jim Beam, American Outpost.
Scotchy Bourbon Boys.
Scotchy Bourbon
that-
Boys.
that-
we have shirts.
We do not
Those-
have hats, but we do have shirts,
Well,
and we have
CT
Glen
can get
Cairns.
hats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, CT can get a
Yeah.
hat. You can Facebook message me, David, Jeffrey Mueller. Just Facebook message me, and I will let you know. I'll get your address, and we can ship out a shirt. And and we need size. I believe they're $20, right?
Yeah.
$20 plus shipping.
Yeah.
And we can send it off. So we also have the Glens here. How much do these run?
15.
15
Yeah.
with shipping? I think it was, yeah. I think it was. So if you will let me know, but just Facebook message me.
And then CT can get hats. Yeah.
And then
We can
can,
order a hat through for CT, and we're going to be talking to him tomorrow. So let me know if you want me to order it.
Yep.
But I'll get it to you. And you also can buy barrel picks.
absolutely. And we got a couple of those right now.
Yep. All right. So yeah, we got to wrap this up. This has been great. Remember,
Sure has.
it's been Booker's batch 4. Jimmy's batch wins the Scotchy Bourbon Boys Bourbon of the Year.
Whiskey love, Aaron Conkle.
Mhm.
Whiskey love.
Yes. All right.
Yep.
So
Merry Christmas.
Merry
guys.
Christmas.
Happy New Year.
So
Yep.
all right. So I'm going to end this on Facebook, and you can what's up? Okay. So Aaron shows up. You're going to be here, Aaron, tomorrow, correct? I believe so. I've got your Glen Cairns here, so don't let me forget to give that to you. Our house starting at about 6 o'clock, and then we're going to get out of here about 6:45. So if you're here by 5:45, then we'll head over to the Christmas party. Everybody, the Christmas party is this tomorrow. I'm going to put that up on Facebook one last time. Join us if you're in the Chicago area. To Chicago.
Too much Booker.
That's it. You're cut off. No more
The Canton,
Bookers.
Ohio
more Bookers
area.
for
We're
you.
going to be having our annual Christmas party at Gervasi Vineyards at the Still House there. And everybody's welcome. It starts at 7 p.m. So if you can make it, check it out. That's where
Yep.
we'll be tomorrow, 7 p.m. But look for our 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. podcast tomorrow live with the full crew here in the Scotchy Bourbon Boys studios.
Yes.
So it should
Where
be
we are going to decide our bourbon of the year.
yeah, we're gonna have to do some
Whoop, whoop.
glass washing tonight.
That's for sure.
Okay, come on, we gotta
All
go,
right.
Walker.
All right, I'm going to end it on Facebook. Thanks, everybody. And good night. And we will see you tomorrow morning.
Cheers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yep.
All right, well, Facebook, can you hand me the YouTube so we'll get off YouTube? I'm going to say maybe 200 on YouTube would be my guess. I know I didn't advertise this at all. Thank you, everybody. All right.
Well, we got a lot. The reserves for the win. The reserves for a great pour.
There we go. Why am I having a prop up there? All right.
Wayne agrees, though. Wayne went for